Several months ago, we bought 10,000 bulk cards from Cool Stuff Inc., which is a game store with a bunch of locations around the Florida area. And we did this with the goal of seeing if we can make our money back on those while still using that bulk lot to progress my personal collection. And we started off the first 5 weeks basically putting half of those cards. So we put 5,000 cards on eBay. We put 5,000 cards on TCG Player. I've been doing weekly update videos since. Last week, I mentioned that I wanted to kind of take those bulk cards that we had on eBay and start moving those over to TCG Player. So we did that this week, and I want to go over this week's numbers. I'm going to do things a little bit different this week. I'm going to start with the actual overall numbers of sales and then go through the detailed items because we sold a whole lot. We ended up starting to move over, did a little bit each day. And basically what I did is I rescanned in all the cards. So the first thing I did was I delisted everything from eBay, which is a big pain if you've never done it. The bulk operation to remove listings only allows you to do 200 at a time. So I had well over like 9,000 listings on eBay I had to go through and do 200 at a time. And big pain. We eventually got through them. And then once that was done, I took sets and I started rescanning them in through my scanner, through my Epson scanner, and then running them through Card Uploader and spitting out a TCG Player inventory upload file to increment our inventory over on the TCG Player side. So I did, a set here or there throughout the week. We started moving some things over, and we got quite a bit of sales from that because we had all those cards sitting on eBay. Just nobody wanted to buy them. Put them on TCG Player, and a bunch of them started selling. So you can kind of see for week 6, there's no eBay numbers. That's because that's when we stopped doing eBay, was at the end of week 5. And for week 6, we sold 140 cards on TCG Player. The revenue was about $30.47. Our net with that was about $15.46 after shipping costs and everything. We're averaging about 11 cents a card. We did have a couple bigger orders there where we didn't get shipping. The buyer wasn't charged any shipping, and so we basically had to pay that out of pocket. So that obviously digs into that a little bit. But overall, this has been pretty good. And so before we dig into the actual details of the sales, kind of want to show you guys where we're sitting at. So again, we spent $406. Now, the nice thing with buying from Cool Stuff is they give you a big variety. So we got some WotC cards. We got some mid-era, like the Nintendo EX era sets. We've got Diamond and Pearl. We got Black and White. We got Sun and Moon. We got Sword and Shield. And then about half of it was Scarlet and Violet and Mega Evolutions. So we got a nice variety with that. And so we ended up paying $406. So this includes shipping. So this was the exact price shipped for 10,000 cards. So far, we've made back $306. So on the surface, that looks really good. However, we had to spend 2 months worth of subscriptions for the eBay store. So we had basically a deficit there of $56. So we're still looking at trying to make back $155. That's what we're in the negative. So we're sitting at negative 38% GP. But if we take a look at our projections are still looking good for a 3-month test. So based on today, what we've done everything to date with these 10,000 cards, we're averaging about $2.70 a day in profit, which puts us at kind of that 3-month projected profit of $8.33. That means after 3 months, ideally, if everything stays status quo, we should break even. And then from that point forward, everything is profit. So let's take a look at the individual sales. We're going to hop on over to week 6 here. As I mentioned, it's about 140 cards. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you are going to see a couple single card orders in here, which I found interesting. Like an Eevee from Shining Fates. It's like 19 cents. Now, I did set my floor to 19 cents a couple weeks ago. I actually did that right before Mayhem. The reason I do this is most people set their floor at 20 cents. So I undercut them by a cent so that I move up the listing rankings. And I still take advantage of the cart optimizer. So we can kind of see that we've got an Eevee from Shining Fates, a Morpeko from a Rebel Clash. And then somebody came in and bought Boss's Orders and a bunch of Lily's Determinations. We sold those for 34 cents a piece. And then you can kind of see this order number 49. This was one of those bigger orders here. So somebody came in and they bought all of these cards. So from varying sets. So we had some SV base cards in there, Shrouded Fable, Stellar Crown, Prismatic. There's a Bug Catching set and Janine's Secret Art, both in Prismatic, that sell pretty well. Brock's Scouting from Journey Together. And then some Team Rockets, Grimer, Zubat, and Golbat from Destined, as well as Dwebble, Force of Vitality from Mega Evolution Base, Grimsley's Move from Phantasmal Flames. So they came in and grabbed a bunch of those cards. They also grabbed some Crispin from Stellar Crown. And then we had a couple more single card orders. So somebody just bought one Team Rockets Petrol. Again, 29-cent card, $1.49 shipping is what they paid. So while we had this card listed at 29 cents, our net on that card was actually 26 cents, which is pretty cool. Again, going back to the cool stuff lots have, they sprinkle in a lot of older cards as well. So we had a NK from Roaring Skies in here. Sold that for 36 cents. It was in a card they bought, so they paid $1.49 shipping. So our net on that one was 31 cents. Moving down, another order of that Boss's Orders and Lily Determination. Brave Bangle. Somebody just came in and this Lily's Determination, which is a single order. So single card order here. And then same thing with Brave Bangle, single card order. And these are nice because of that $1.49 included shipping. We net almost what we're selling the individual cards for. That's super nice. Night Stretcher and Boss's Orders. This Boss's Orders is the deck exclusive. So this comes in the Build and Battle kits, the pre-release kits. So somebody picked up that, and they also picked up Night Stretcher from Ascended Heroes. And then we had another big order here. I'm not going to go through all these cards, but this was another fairly large order. This person grabbed 51 cards. So, you know, from varying sets there, Phantasmal, Mega Evolution, White Flare, Destined Rivals, Journey Together, Surging Sparks, Stellar Crown, Shrouded Fable, Twilight Masquerade, Paradox Rift, 151, Obsidian Flames, Pade Evolved, SV Base, Crown Zenith, Silver Tempest, Lost Origin, Astral Radiance, Brilliant Stars, Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, Chilling Reign, Vivid Voltage, Rebel Clash, and even Pokemon Go. This is the power of listing everything that you have. It doesn't matter what set it's from. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-cent card or if it's a 50-cent card. You will get people. This most likely was a collector because they just bought one of each of these cards. But they're going to come in and they're going to look to, you know, maybe fill out their binders. And they're just looking to grab one of each card from all these varying sets. You don't need a bunch of inventory per se, but it's always advantageous to try to list all the cards that you have. And that's always the approach that I take. I don't sift or anything. It's just I have stacks, scan them in, list them, and then you'll get buyers like this that come in and pick them up. And you can kind of see another order that came in here. For Dawn, Force of Vitality, Larry's Skill, Lana's Aid. This was probably a player. They picked up a bunch of trainers there. Then somebody came in and just ordered one Pokemon Center Lady from Champion's Path, which was kind of crazy. They did pick up some reverse hollows with this. This was the only common that they included in that lot. And then there was somebody came in and bought just one Jolteon from Vivid Voltage, 25 cents, $1.49 shipping. We netted 21 cents on that. So that's another example. And then we had another bigger order here, probably a selective collector, I would say, because they came in and they bought Mightyena, Poochyena, Mantine, Pikachu, a Lycanroc, and a couple of Zacians. And they actually picked up some reverse hollows of Mightyena, Poochyena, and Mantine and Zacian as well. So that was another order that, really filling out your inventory on TCG Player, even things that you think probably won't sell because they're only, 1 cent card, 5 cent card, list them, put them at your floor, leave them up there. Eventually they will sell. That Jolteon sitting up there, it was nice. I've actually had other Jolteons in my inventory for a long time. But they just so happened to, pick another one up. So, super nice to see. I have tons and tons of Vivid Voltage listed. It trickle sells. I don't sell a lot. Same thing with Pokemon Go. This is the common Pikachu, not the holo rare. So that common Pikachu, we sold for 29 cents there. That's another example that I probably have tons of those listed. In fact, I haven't even taken the Pokemon Go from eBay yet and moved it over to TCG Player. That was the very last set is moving over because I already have so much Pokemon Go inventory on TCG Player. It's one of my favorite sets. And so I've opened a whole lot of that since launch date. Overall, that is kind of where we're sitting at. I'll clear out the filter here and we'll take a look at those overall numbers again and kind of what we're looking at trending wise. You can see this week we did that 1546 is what we netted. Last week we had netted $6.41. And you can kind of see we were averaging like that $5 to $6 range, and we tripled that this week. So this is super nice to see. What this tells me is we had a lot of sellable cards just sitting on eBay that, those buyers are there on TCG Player, and we really just need to, move that inventory over there. So we'll see how the next week goes. It's nice still being on that track for, after 12 weeks. That's kind of what I wanted to break even on when I originally bought this. I was hoping for that 12-week mark. So it looks like we're still on track. It's going to be a very tight window as long as our sales maintain and, we continue this. This was definitely nice to see because on the eBay side, we were seeing diminishing sales, especially on the net side. So you could see we started off that first week, $13, $10, $13, but then only $3, $2. And that week 5, we only made $1 across 4 sales, 4 cards. So we were seeing diminishing returns there. Yes, the profit per card was a lot higher there. But on eBay, we're able to, or on TCG Player rather, we've got a better trajectory of actually making our money back and not sitting on the inventory. Something very important to keep in mind is we are in a bull run for Pokemon right now. Lots of people are buying, investing, collecting, whatever it may be. We are at the height of the market right now, and inevitably things are going to retrace and probably retrace drastically. My guess would be 6 months post 30th anniversary, which is typically when this happens, just based on my experience in the field and selling on TCG Player since 2014. I've kind of seen this always happen with the anniversary sets. It triggers burnout when everybody goes in the store and all they see is that same anniversary set sitting on shelves, and they get tired of it. And so with that, I fully expect that to happen. I expect that to trigger an epic retracement. And our goal with this bulk lot is to do everything we can to make our money back before that happens. Because once that happens, this projection, we could probably divide it by 10. And that's what we would be looking at. So instead of 3 months, we could potentially be looking at 2 years to make that money back. So it may not be that drastic, but it very well could be. And so the name of the game right now is trying to get the volume of the revenue back in, really the volume of the profit back in, so that we can break even on this and then, start making some profit on it. And when that bear market does hit for Pokemon collecting, investing, whatever it may be, people buying singles, that it's okay for us to only sell a couple cards a week, or maybe have to drop our floor even lower, because in a bear market, you're not going to be moving cards like you are now. Just something to keep in mind, especially if you're buying inventory right now. Like, you need to be prepared that when that, I'm not going to call it a crash, but when that retracement happens, that your profit margins are gonna shrink drastically. If you're selling a 50-cent card today, you might be selling that same card for 20 cents after a retracement. Just historically speaking, what we have seen, and what I've personally seen. So I'm positioning myself that I want to attempt to at least break even on this bulk lot within that 3-month period, hopefully by the end of that 3-month period, preferably, before the 30th anniversary set even gets released. I'd like to be in a position where I've already broken even on the cards, and then everything else I have is basically just sitting there in my inventory, and it can trickle sell as is. The collectors that remain in the scene are really going to be those that are truly dedicated and still wanting to build out collections. And that's who I want to be selling to anyways.